For joining us. I am Yori Folari. Okay, let's go back on the international scene, but what is it that is international that doesn't, one way or the other, affect us? Okay, today let's look at President Trump. People are still getting used to President Trump, and let's just take one of the controversies, I think would be a fine word. One of the controversies, and that's President Trump, as it were, pulling America out of foreign aid, support around the world. It is said that that action could very well cripple health programs all around the world and other kind of developmental programs. Okay, we'll look at that, and to help us look into this is Mr. Ademola Oshodi. Mr. Oshodi is of the President's Office. A fine morning to you, Ademola.
Good morning.
Thank you very much.
Yori.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, so how worried should we be, if that is the expression to use? President Trump is saying, well, it's our money. We have not been getting value, so he alleges, and we've got to shape things up a bit in here. Not everybody agrees with that particular analysis, especially the cost-benefit analysis of it. The way President Trump sees the whole issue of America getting anything back is different from what some analysts have said. But how say you on this whole matter? Should we be worried?
I think we should be concerned, but we should not be worried. I say this mainly because Nigeria is at a comparative advantage with other developing countries. Nigeria has tremendous amount of benefits for the America. It has strategic interest for the America. Nigeria it's one of the biggest oil exporter, oil and gas. Nigeria is a leader in Africa and West Africa, provides leadership, stability for America to extend its foreign policy in anywhere in Africa. If they can basically partner with Nigeria, America can project its foreign policy in the Sahel, in anywhere. Apart from that, Nigeria provides that security, for its American interest around the continent, especially around the Bight of Boni, around the Niger Delta coast, where pirates operate. American ships come in from the Atlantic and have to berth in West Africa. So Nigeria provides that counterweight for security concerns around piracy. But again, Nigeria has, it's a large economy. It's a massive population, big market for American export, American expertise. So it can't be ignored. It's like saying, it's like saying Nigeria ignoring India. India is not a threat to American interests. Neither is Nigeria. I mean, they can talk about China, but Nigeria, India, Brazil do not provide a threat to American hegemony. So it's really quite different for Nigeria. I can't say the same for the rest of Africa.
Okay.
Africa has been reeling from the news of the cut in American foreign aid, especially the U.S. aid. But Africa has to find a way to search itself and find alternatives and do things better to ensure that development assistance continues.
Well, I'm going to take it, and correct me if I'm out of order here. Seeing as you are, SSA to the President on foreign affairs and protocol, is this generally the kind of view from within the presidency on this matter? I know that diplomatic matters are carefully spoken about, although President Trump is not obeying that particular rule. But does what you've just expressed, does it sort of coincide with the view within the presidency?
The Nigerian government has not given an official statement on its response to the cut in U.S. aid. I know President Tinubu has provided $4.8 billion to assist in health issues, healthcare issues. $4.8 billion, sorry. Yes, so especially fight against HIV/AIDS in Nigeria. So that's kind of probably helps fill in the vacuum where foreign aid from the Americans or anywhere else may lack. So, but Nigeria has not taken a very the Nigerian government has not taken a very clear statement on this, and I think we don't need to. We need to be watchful. We need to watch where the American president and his policies are going. And I don't think we should be alarmed. As I said, Nigeria has a strategic advantage in Africa for the Americans.
Okay.
And, in many cases, the development world has been changing. The British government's Department for Forward and International Development was also scrapped and incorporated in their Foreign Affairs Ministry. So their foreign aid goes through their foreign affairs. So it's more like a projection of their foreign interests. It's no longer seeming altruistic or charity. It's like, how do we benefit? What's our interest in this, and why should we put our money in? And I think that's where the American U.S. aid is going to go. That's the direction. It's going to be probably incorporated into a core American foreign policy, the department, or as you say, Nigeria ministry, and they're going to project their strategic interest with those foreign aids. So it's like a carrot and stick thing. You benefit us, we'll give you food, we'll give you money, we'll give you arms. You don't benefit us, it doesn't suit our interest, then we're not giving you anything. So okay. It's quite clear. Yeah.
In Africa here, I see, just scanning the news, scanning social media, and going by the leaders of the African countries. My eye was caught by Cyril Ramaphosa of South Africa's statement online. You might have seen it, where I don't know exactly the forum he was addressing, but the point he was making is that, so what with America? Africa has to find its own way. And, well, very much as you've said, no need to be alarmed, no need to be perhaps scared, perhaps concerned. You did concede that. Maybe, concerned, seeing as these are very, very serious matters. But Cyril Ramaphosa was quite blank about he's not impressed. Africans should look inwards, look into themselves. Effectively, he was advocating African countries through their leaders, should actually get themselves together so that they don't really need America that badly. Now, that was the head of a country speaking. What would be your commentary on that? Because not everybody can speak up, but I don't know. Cyril Ramaphosa decided that, yeah, we're going to speak up about this. It's not good at all. What is going on from America is unexpected. And quite frankly, he has said it's not good and the bluff should be called. How doable would you say that is, Ademola?
Well, I'm not sure those are his words, and I'm not sure that's the message he wanted to portray. It's easier for South Africa, which is quite a developed country, to call the American bluff. But the vast majority of African countries and Africans in general do need foreign assistance, and America is the largest largest country that provides this foreign assistance. So it can't, it should not be taken lightly, and which definitely should not bluff or stick it to the face of the American government. Even the Canadians and Mexicans and the Europeans are very careful how they respond to Donald Trump's new foreign policy. So, no, Africa does need foreign assistance. It does not mean Africa should depend on foreign assistance. Foreign assistance doesn't necessarily have to be, basically food or medicine. It could go beyond that. It could be, military equipment. It could be, for Nigeria, even with Trump, the first Trump administration, Nigeria got a lot of military assistance, and we were able to purchase military hardware from the Americans under Trump, not under President Barack Obama. American foreign aid was also increased during the first Trump administration. But Africa needs support for health. HIV, American policy has saved over 25 million, American money has saved over 25 million Africans from HIV/AIDS over the decades. American policy on HIV/AIDS and their generosity towards Africa has saved 5.5 million children, unborn children that could have been born with HIV/AIDS. And a lot of them came in from South Africa. South Africa is one of the highest HIV/AIDS rates in the world. So we shouldn't take it lightly. We should be very respectful of their policy, but we should also look inwards and see how we can also ensure our governance system works.
Okay, indeed, welcome back. We are back, and our guest is Mr. Ademola Oshodi, SSA to the President on Foreign Affairs and Protocol. He is in our Abuja studio. Thank you very much, Ademola. You know, when you were speaking, just before we had to go on that break, you were speaking about health especially, and I'm happy that you mentioned AIDS, because well, it's gone out of the news, but it hasn't gone from our experience. When I say gone out of the news, relatively speaking. Now, this, is it ARD drugs? America was playing a very significant role in, making sure that that went around the world free. In Nigeria, it has been free, and I'm not sure I heard anything to the contrary. It has been free, so this has been saving, as you said, many lives. And so these are the kind of things that when people comment that U.S. halt to foreign aid will be crippling programs worldwide, it does mean that various governments would have to now be bringing money out of their own pocket, so to speak, to address these concerns, because they must be addressed either on our own or with assistance, which of course is the preferable situation.
Absolutely. The African government has to look inwards to find ways of managing their resources for, basically resources that they get rather than foreign aid. They have to ensure that it's managed well, it's utilized in the right places: health, education, security, agriculture. These are very essential things for the prosperity of a country. American foreign aid is very important. It is, you cannot play. American money saved lives in Africa, especially with the HIV/AIDS. They saved over 25 million lives, saved 5.5 million unborn children. So it can't be taken lightly, but we need to find a governance system whereby our own resources can be better utilized, and we can also leverage on all the partners, the European Union, African partners in China, and also in India, in Brazil, any country that can collaborate and provide assistance. But Nigeria has, again, a comparative advantage with America. And I think we shouldn't get carried away with the American policy at the moment. We can see what happened with Mexico and Canada, how they were suspended and reversed. Foreign aid is an essential part of those big countries, a big power, and how they basically use their soft power in providing, in leverage, in projecting themselves. So it's not just that America is providing military assistance, or America is telling you what to do. America is also giving you food. America is also giving you transferring technology. America is also training. America is also providing, arms. So it's key that the Nigerian government, which with the leadership of Bola Ahmed Tinubu, enhances and that multilateral relationships and all the global bodies that provide assistance. Now, the most thing that comes to mind when it comes to foreign aid is people thinking, well, where is this affecting Nigeria? Where is this money being utilized? Most of it is actually going to northern Nigeria. Most of it is going to food in IDP camps. It's going to for healthcare benefits in IDP camps, education, and also providing, in many ways, educational transfer of knowledge in other parts of Nigeria. We don't see it every day in big cities and in the middle class, but it's a very vital part of of our economy. Many African countries depend on foreign aid. Malawi, Rwanda, they get a lot of money from these foreign partners, and this suspension from the U.S. aid, which I heard actually may be canceled, is going to really affect a lot of people there.
Indeed. Well, as you said, as people are grappling with trying to understand this Trump presidency, even the first one has had its difficulties for people to understand, simply because President Trump, I think, is one of a kind. He's not a politician from the get-go. That we've become used to hearing from presidential quarters. Well, he's a deal maker. That's where he's a deal maker, was a billionaire before he became president, and therefore, I guess there might be a bit of "can't nobody tell me nothing" in his demeanor. I don't know. That was just my own, perhaps irreverent take on it. But
I agree. I agree.
Yes. Because a politician would know all these things. But President Trump probably feels that, look, I don't need to know, and that if maybe one of the ways that President Trump might be looking at the world might be through the lens of a deal, because President Trump talks a lot about deals. He talks a lot about deals and business. There are a lot of deals going on. So when you brought up the question of Canada, for example, and Mexico, he seems to have relented a bit. He said, look, especially as those ones have quickly said that, no, take it easy. What we'll do is that we'll increase our border control, we'll increase the fight against immigration. He said, oh, you guys are going to play ball that way? Okay, suspend for a month. Let's see how it's going to work out. So that's the way he's going about it. It's different from the kind of presidential mien that we've been used to around the world. President Trump seems to be in a class of his own.
He is. I think he uses brinkmanship as a leverage, as a way of getting his way. So he will ensure that he pushes hard, and then gets your attention, and then you would negotiate, or you would concede to his position. So it is a classic situation. But I need to mention the fact that Trump's first term as president, President Muhammadu Buhari was his first African leader that visited the White House. So this is the importance Trump and the Americans take Nigeria. Everybody remembers when President Buhari went to visit Trump in the White House, and they signed off on great things, especially on security and buying arms to fight Boko Haram. So America understands the importance of Nigeria, and as much as it's a painful development to cut the foreign aid and tons of employment, especially local employment, people working in development in northern Nigeria, in parts of Africa. Nigeria is in quite a different position than other African countries. America needs Nigeria. China needs Nigeria. India needs Nigeria. The Europeans need Nigeria. Nigeria cannot be ignored. It is a giant on its own. The market is massive. The leadership role it has is comparable to none in Africa. And the potential is something. Europe is getting old. Europe is getting old. China needs other markets apart from the Americans that are trying to sanction it out or tariff their imports or exports as much as possible. The Europeans also are very reluctant and very suspicious of the Chinese. So China needs Africa and Nigeria in particular. India needs that ideological partner. So does Brazil. They want to collaborate with the global South, especially with the BRICS and the G20. Nigeria is the natural country in Africa. So we're in quite a advantageous position, and nobody can ignore us. So
Sorry. Did you finish?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay.
Yes,
we're talking about this. There are all aspects to health. We're talking about core health right here. But even the matter of illegal or undocumented immigrants, that's also on there, and he's going about it. The President of America is going about it in his own unique way. The thing is, of course, there's a lot of commentary coming out of America. Most people are saying that, well, look, it has always been with us. This situation around the world has always been with us, suggesting that this is perhaps not the way, sending everybody back home. He's even gotten to, you heard all the policies that people's mouths are agape. He's even saying, even those who think that they might be American citizens having been born here, that we will take a look at it, that kind of a thing. So really ruffling diplomatic feathers. And as you can see, an attempt has already been made by him to send, undocumented immigrants to what? Is it Mexico, I think? And those ones refused, but later on they conceded and took the people back. It's all about mutual respect. So do you think people read it right when they think that, say everything you want to say, President Trump seems to have indicated that he doesn't have very much respect, for certain peoples of the world as he goes about his business? It's his way and no other.
Well, I think President Trump's policy is America first. So regardless of nationality, race, religion, as long as it suits the Americans. America has a great respect and warmth towards towards Saudi Arabia. America desperately needs India. It needs India to check the Chinese. So, for instance, it needs Brazil for its market in Latin America. So many of these people are, they're not Caucasians. They're not, for many of them from developing country. You would not hear, and I repeat, Donald Trump say anything disparaging much about India. It would not. They need India desperately. India knows that. India is a long-aligned nation, just like Nigeria is, and so is Brazil and places like that. So they are not. They would go where it benefits them, or where our interest lies. So it's not just about a particular race or country. It's about their interest. America first. If America first means that, Arabian countries, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, United Arab Emirates get beneficial treatment in America, so be it. And they're Muslims. Yes. If it means that, Indians, technicians, or Indian military support, Indian partnership in South Asia, South Asian Sea, or in the Himalayas, checkmates, controls the Chinese, America's biggest rival. So be it. They're not going to cut those assistance to places that benefits them. And that's the way it is. It's a very selfish position, but it's their own position, and it's in their interest. So that's where we in Africa have to now look inwards and see how do we ensure we leverage our own benefits, what we have, our own advantages, and ensure we do work our own system well enough to make us less reliant on those changes in foreign affairs. So the Trump presidency is affecting every single country in the world. So we now need to ensure that how does it affect us less, and how does it ensure that we leverage our own strengths for our advantage with the Americans and elsewhere.
Yeah, I suppose it's also sort of useful to flesh out the conversation. Yes, we're talking about President Trump. We've said he seems to be one of a kind when you talk about the diplomacy and the presidential mien. I mean, he has his own rule book, and that is that, and we are seeing the results of it. But I wonder how important do you think it is that commentary within the United States, within opposition in the United States, talking about the Democrats now. I mean, it's all right for us to say MAGA, make America great again, America first. None of the establishment at any point, to be extreme about it, ever said America second or America last. Of course, they've always had the interest, but there's been this way of going about it, that a lot of people within America, from the commentary we are seeing, they're not on all fours with. They're not on all fours at all. That, look, this is what President Trump is doing. Yes, he is our president. Yes, he can do it, and he is doing it. But do we agree? Absolutely not. Is it legitimate? Is it legal? Some are saying no, and some are preparing to go to court. So I just thought we could throw that in, that, look, it's not as if this is a homogeneous kind of opinion. Even in America, there's much pushback against the kind of thing we're talking about, as for America, for instance, deciding to, quote unquote, cripple world programs by withdrawing its aid. Yes. Within America itself, there's a lot of pushback.
There is, but again, that is their own domestic issue. They voted for the man, they voted for his party in. This is what they voted for, and this is what has been played out. So, it's their own cross to bear, and many Americans will probably support Trump's policy, regardless of what the opposition says. And again, there's opposition to every government in the world, internally, so it's a natural thing. But again, we just have to ensure that we push our interests first. There's an article I'm just about to send out to the newspapers, and it says Africa first. And Africa first means we leverage what we have, our own advantages. South Africa is having issues with the Trump administration, especially with Elon Musk's involvement there. And South Africa is saying, well, you know what, this is not the way it is regarding land exploration. But South Africa is keeping a close eye on other partners, China, the BRICS, G20, you understand? So South Africa is going to be hosting the G20 later on this year. And it's going to ensure that they diversify their interest from the Americans. And a lot of countries may want to do that. African Union meeting is coming up next week in Addis Ababa. I want to believe that's going to be one of the big agendas, how they respond to the court in technical and development assistance from the Americans, and how how we can ensure that Africa, especially with our free trade arrangement, which we have not fully implemented, how do we ensure that we put those in place to encourage trade and commerce around the continent? So
okay, I'll tell you what, Ademola, I beg your pardon for interrupting you. I'm so sorry for interrupting you, Ademola, but Mr. George has come on the line and don't want to hold him up too long. Good morning, Mr. George. Thank you for calling in.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Good morning.
Good morning to Mr. Ashodi. I believe you can hear me, Uncle Yori.
Yes, we can hear you.
Uncle Yori, for me, we should just not worry ourselves about the shenanigans of Donald Trump. It's an opportunity for us to address our problems and move on as a country. What makes America great is about the resources of America and how America uses that resources at their disposal for the well-being and the render to other countries' needs. If Donald Trump says that America under his watch, can no longer bear that responsibility that makes them the leaders of the world, so be it. It is an opportunity for another country like China to take over what made America the leader of the world. So let it be like that. It's led for them.
All right.
As a country in Nigeria,
yes.
I think it's an opportunity for us to do away with corruption minus corruption in this country. I don't think we need all these aids they are talking about. They said, they provided money to address AIDS. Who brought AIDS to Nigeria? Is it not America? We can address our problems without these so-called aids if there is effective management of our resources, and we can do away with corruption. Nigeria has all what it takes to make every Nigerian happy.
Okay.
So
all right.
Let Donald Trump and America do whatever they like. They decided to elect a criminal as the president. That's their business.
Oh, well, Mr. George, yes. you just added the second word that worried me, on a live broadcast. Because you started off. No, you said, well, okay, I hear what you just said. Yes. I heard what you just said. But you said earlier that is it not America that brought AIDS here? I was wondering that, oh dear, we don't have enough, backing for that particular statement. That it was America that brought AIDS here. Anyhow, I don't know, Ademola, do you want to come in on this, or do I go to break? I'm sort of left with my own devices here.
I just want to mention briefly that we have to respect the American government. We have to respect their president. They voted them in. America is a very, very important player, the most important player in the world. And we have to work with them and be very sensitive to what we say, because eventually we will, have to speak with them and negotiate with them, and see how their interests and our interests align. So it's very important that the Americans are respected, and because government comes, government goes, but you have to ensure that your national interest in this anarchical world, in this world where everybody is pushing for their own interests, whether, by country, unilaterally or regionally or multilaterally, we need to ensure that, everybody works together for their own benefit. So, yes, and Nigeria first. We need to ensure that we put our things in order. The reforms of Bola Ahmed Tinubu helps this because we now open up our fund, we open up our resources now. We don't have to subsidize a lot of things. We have resources to better, make up for any shortfall from anywhere in the world. President Tinubu, mentioned 4.8 billion towards healthcare to make up for any shortfall from U.S. aid from the Americans. This is just a few days ago. Okay. So yeah, we put our place in order, and yeah.
Let me bring in Mazi Okorafor in Arochukwu. Good morning, Mazi.
Good morning, Sanjay.
Yeah.
You see, this issue of tax we are talking, the American government tax they are doing is not different from what we're supposed to see here. Now, you see, they say Mexico, Canada, and China. Why are they putting those taxes? Because what those people are bringing in from this country, they have factories in the US. How do you protect your own infant industry under industrialization?
Mazi, did you start off talking about tax or taxation? We're talking about, U.S. halting, aid, and that this might cripple projects worldwide that U.S. has been supporting. USAID, for instance, and the work that they've been doing around the world. That's the subject of, that's the focus this morning.
Yes, even what America is, what does it is like the World Health.
Yes. He wants to pull out of that.
We they say they are not going to. You see, they are also helping countries. What do I want to do? Like, let me take Nigeria as a case study.
Okay.
In Nigeria, we have a lot of institutes in Lagos. We have a lot of institutes in Ibadan. We have a lot of institutes in Umudike. We have a lot of institutes in Jos that produces some of these products. For example, when these rabies came that people normally get from dogs and rabies, the industry in Jos, what we produced at that time, that was as far back as early 80s and early 90s. those drugs or those medicines they were producing were very, very strong, more than the one we import. What happened? Politics dropped the whole thing now. Nobody's talking about the bomb production. Now look at Ibadan. Is there any people that cannot get the people that you keep in that? These people there. They are there. But what do? We continue to. Now, do you know how much we spend in terms of exchange rate? Bringing all those. Now, let's you can get back there. You know, let's get moringa. You come here, carry our moringa, carry our ginger, carry our garlic, and go outside and produce all these capsules people use as antibiotics. And find it here, send it back to Nigeria. We have the industry here. Now, let me give you an example. I have a friend now. He's looking for bitter cola in Nigeria. We cannot find bitter cola. They say we can get bitter cola in where? In Cameroon. The ginger I was looking for, yes. And what is the ginger? The bag of that ginger is around 200 and something. But they are selling it outside 800 and something thousand. You see, the guy the money going outside to other country. You see what the performance are getting only 200 and something. These are why the Nigerian government should be doing one. Because what they are doing there is a very nice thing. Let African continent sit down, look at what they produce, look at the raw material they have in their country, and make use of it and stop depending outside the center. That is why when they depending because of we depend so much on that. That is why you see with Japan. You can see Japan going outside now. You are going for the made one. Can't you sit down and put them up in order?
All right, Mazi.
Government are taking what Trump. I still love Trump.
Thank you very much, Mazi. Thank you, Mazi Okorafor. Well, Ademola won't be unhappy to hear that. Somebody just said there from Arochukwu that I so much love Trump.
I didn't say I did not like Trump. I did,
no, you didn't. I'm saying you. You'll be pleased to hear that.
Let me be very clear. So they don't stop me from traveling to America or anything like that. No, but my interest is Nigeria and of course the agenda of the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, ensuring that that our foreign policy falls in line with his renewed agenda and his reforms. The same vigor he's taking towards his domestic reform is also what he's pushing for his foreign policy. President Tinubu has taken an economic diplomacy by flying around the world and ensuring that we cut great business deals, opening up the economy for investments. And ensure that our security, especially in the Sahel, in West Africa, and ECOWAS is in line with our progress and development. So that is where I fit in, and I'm indifferent to American presidency or policy, as ensuring that it just benefits our loved country, Nigeria.
Indeed.
Let's clarify that.
You were saying that there's a continental meeting, African continental meeting. Was it the AU that you said maybe perhaps next week, that kind of thing, where it is expected that, of course, America will be part of the conversation that's going on there. How does the continent, how does it brace, if that is the word? Respond.
Yes.
Respond. Yeah. How does it respond?
Yes.
So
well, yes. I think it's still relatively new. Everything has just been moving super fast in the past week or two since Donald Trump was inaugurated. So there's not been any real clear response yet from either a regional body like ECOWAS or SADC or African Union. But I want to believe that the African Union summit happening in next week, mid-month, February, there will be some sort of policy decision or I would say statement regarding that. But they would not, I don't believe any country or any regional body, multilateral or bilateral, will want to antagonize the Americans. The Americans and the leadership of Donald Trump cannot be ignored. America is the most important country in the world. We can only just leverage what we have, our benefits. We can also partner with other countries, China, and, which is a very, very large rising emerging superpower. We can also ensure that we do things well internally. And also ensure that Africa opens up its trade, like the African continental free trade, arrangement. So that is also there. ECOWAS also is very important. Unfortunately, those 3 countries have left of ECOWAS, but we still have, opportunity to work with them to ensure that there's free movement of goods and services. So we need to look internally more. It's more of a desperate need. And we also need to partner with other entities. European Union. The European Union are very, very, very much in support of development works in Nigeria and Africa. So Nigeria Nigeria, I believe, should not be too worried. We should be concerned. But with the reforms and the freedom, the reforms that the president has given, especially removing subsidy. Do you know how much money that saves the country? Electricity, oil, petroleum subsidy. Do you know how much money that frees for development, for health, for education, for security? As painful as it is, it really, really helps us. It gives us that, a bit more leeway, in doing things. So we're less dependent on this foreign assistance that we're all crying about right now.
Yes. Exactly. You're exactly right. But as you know, the other side of that coin is that as it is freeing, as those subsidy removals are freeing up resources for very important projects, it also is putting a stress on the regular, ordinary Nigerian. I'm not saying that every Nigerian can feel it the same way. There's a matter of jobs, there's a matter of what we can afford to pay, and as all of this is, as all this situation is bubbling and boiling, whereas I take the point you made that money has been freed up, for other important things, there is the challenge of we also have to see what can be done to support the Nigerian who perhaps is being rudely aroused from a long-term use of quote-unquote free government-provided livelihood. Government provides your water, provides your power, your electricity. In fact, I don't know why they didn't say government should provide phones. But Nigerians have become used over the years until very, very recently. With so many things being done at a discount, and that's why there's a resistance. But people, as you know, I'm sure, I don't need to tell you, you're a researcher yourself, people can't really, how does one put it delicately? People are not exactly enjoying themselves unless you happen to be a quote-unquote millionaire class.
Well, I think enjoyment is relative. It's not just as much as money is very important, but enjoyment is a relative term. If you speak with people in very simple positions, and they will tell you they find peace and comfort in their surroundings, in their community. So, but yes, the reforms are tough, but it is essential, and it's already providing a lot of fruits for Nigeria. We are more secure. We are having more development, infrastructure development. There's more money towards health, education, and it's a lot of it is because of the reforms of the president and his actions, even in foreign affairs. Nigeria has taken a bold move in Africa in ensuring that security concerns in the Sahel and investments into Nigeria is coming in. You can't subsidize your economy and expect people to bring money in to try and compete. It's just not possible. They want to make sure that everything is free for everybody. They can compete without government just throwing money in. So I think it's a great opportunity for Nigeria moving ahead with our opening of our economy and the respect we're receiving from foreign partners. the fact that the bold case towards the reform has never been done. It has never been done.
Okay.
It's going to transfer our economy in a very structural way. So this is, as far as I'm concerned, this is really a good time to be a Nigerian, especially as we lead in Africa. All
right. I think that's a fine place at which to leave it, Ademola. I want to thank you very much for coming along and sharing your impressions on these global political affairs. Thank you very much. Our guest has been Mr. Ademola Oshodi, SSA to the President on Foreign Affairs.